And everyone seems to agree with this, and I do as well, that it has been very orderly. It's been this downward repricing of stocks, not a flight, an outright urgent flight from risk. However, I also don't think what the mood is right now is all that out of whack with what we've seen already. So it raises the question of, do you need to have a run for the hills moment? Do you need to have people at maximum bearishness when the market is about flat for the year? You're down 10% off the high from the second time. We were lower on October 29th. And the real economy, at least to most people, still feels okay. So I guess all of it has to be in context. If you look at the VIX and the VIXN, the NASDAQ volatility index, you see them both tracking higher. I don't think we're targeting those early January, February highs just because you had the glitch of the VIX fund blow up. But what you see right now is that they've kind of settled at somewhat agitated levels. And I do think that reflects the fact that we've been in this process for 2 months. People have had a chance to hedge for 2 months. And we are still at least slightly with the S&P above the lows. So not disagreeing with the overall environment out there. If you really wanted to see that maximum flush and people very scared, no, we haven't seen it. Do you always get it? Not necessarily before you have some relief to the upside. Yesterday was pretty sloppy in some regards, and I think you got kind of close but not quite there, maybe close enough to actually have a little bit of a lift because you have the seasonal magic around Thanksgiving.
Mike, it's Jim. I just got to say, I can't recall a correction like this. Now, you get downturns like 3, 4, 5%, that's one thing. But you get down 10%, particularly near the end of the year, where tax loss selling is going to come into play here. I just never have seen this end without that washout, that capitulation day where you just go home dragging your tail between the legs. I mean, yes, it can happen without that. Anything can happen. I just think it's so highly unlikely that this ends without a boom.
But, Jim, let's define what that capitulation is. Does it have to be the broad market, or can it be the stocks that are up so much? Is capitulation Netflix down 40% and Amazon down 30%?
It's a one-day thing. It's a one-day thing, and it's generally broad. It doesn't mean every single stock goes down. But it's, nothing changes fundamentally in the world in one day. But you see almost across the board, stocks are off 4 or 5%. And that has nothing to do with fundamentals. It has everything to do with sentiment. Sentiment is where this thing is.
Fair enough, but we've rarely had an environment where there's so much bifurcation in the different sectors and different sectors
Listen, I hope I'm wrong.
Strategies.
I mean, believe me, I hope I'm wrong. I've been raising cash, but I still have 83% invested. So, the capitulation day ain't going to feel great. It ain't going to feel like that's the day to put the 17% back to work. We're going to have to do it.
Mike, let's get your take.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I mean, I think what we're all looking for is everything to line up, and it's going to seem like it's a February 2016 type moment when we had that diamond bottom. Yes, you did have people very, very bearish at that moment. You had a lot of downside momentum, and it was arrested all at once. That was the end of a 6-month process. Within that, if you go back to late 2015, for example, when you had the original correction and you came back from it, you came back pretty far from it without necessarily having that kind of climactic environment. So I think we're all talking tactics here. To me, what really does matter is what's 2019 going to look like? Whatever the path you take to kind of either hit new lows or not, I do think it's all going to really come down to how much are earnings estimates going to have to come down for what sectors. And just to Jenny's point, home builders up yesterday, right? They have been blasted. Home builders up, semiconductors up.